Warning! Spoilers for Severance Season 1 and 2, so be warned. I'm going to cut to the chase. Severance is the best show on TV right now, and one of my favorite shows of all time. Let's talk about the first season real quick. I didn't watch the first season when it came out. I started watching it, I think, maybe the first couple episodes into Season 2. So I watched the first 2 episodes of the show, and I thought it was quite good, and then for some reason late at night, it was still in my head, and I decided to keep watching. So I watched 2 more episodes. The 4th episode, the UUR, had me going kind of crazy. That ending scene with them reading the book, Helly trying to kill herself, incredible. I mean, obviously, her trying to kill herself, not incredible, but you know what I mean. The next day, I watched the next 3 episodes, ended with Defiant Jazz. I was loving this show, but the ending of Defiant Jazz was insane. I did not see that twist coming, and it had me absolutely obsessed. After that, I had school, so I had to wait a week to keep watching. Then I finally finished the first season, The Wee We Are, one of the best, most intense episodes of television I have seen. The final scene of the episode... She's alive! Might be the best cliffhanger in TV. If I had to wait 3 years for Season 2, I would have lost my mind. But luckily for me, I could just watch the next episode immediately. But before I get to Season 2, I'm going to give some thoughts on the first season. In case it wasn't obvious, I love this season. It's such an interesting concept, and the show is able to explore these ethical dilemmas in so many ways and continue to explore it in Season 2. I love all the characters, and all the acting is fantastic in this show. I'll talk about the characters in a section after this. I can't believe that the driving force and storyline of the entire show doesn't get revealed until episode 7, the Defiant Jazz episode. The Gemma reveal is, in my opinion, an old-time plot twist. It just changes everything we thought about the show and what was happening, and changes the future, changes the whole story. Incredible. Also, I was surprised by how funny the show was. There's the scene in the finale where the guy is yelling, "Oh, I saved the baby, I saved the baby." That's hilarious in such an intense moment. This is a perfect season of television, 10 out of 10. Now Season 2. There was a lot of hype for this season, and it only took the opening scene to realize that it was amazing. The camera work in this scene is so crazy and weird. One of the best aspects of the show is the cinematography, and it really shines in this opening scene. The scene expanded so much of the first season, did most of it better. The characters, the performances, the mystery, and even the ideas, what can be done with Severance, or the ethical concepts, are explored much further. Now I get to my first topic I want to talk about, being the characters. My favorite character of the show has to be Mr. Milkshake. There's just so many levels to his character and performance, ways he would snap back in between being just this fun, happy guy to being this intense, kind of makes me a little scared kind of villain. Apparently Tremel Tillman is going to be in the next Mission Impossible movie. I'm not sure how big of a role it will be, but I am excited for that. His end goals, what Dan is planning for him in the future, I just cannot figure out. I was sure he would be turning against Lumen this season, especially the way he looked at that Kia statue in the season finale. But I just don't know and cannot wait to see what his character does in Season 3. I think Milkshake gives us the most iconic scenes of the show, both being the music dance experience in both this first season and the season finale. I love the devout feculent scene when he talked monosyllabically, and that was just badass. Easily my favorite character and best dancer of the whole show. Dylan got expanded a lot this season. I'm glad we got to see more of Ali's life and the conflict that came from it. He's mostly a comic relief character, especially in Season 1, but I'm glad we're seeing more sides to his character, including his wife. The scene in the finale where he sees the letter from his Adi is a great scene. I think Zach Cherry is doing a pretty great job with the character.
Fuck you, Mr. Milchick!
Irving. One of the best performances of the season was John Turturro, in my opinion. He is able to play 2 different Irvings so well in such subtle ways. His performance in Warriors Hollow being particularly memorable. He might have the best line delivery of the whole show.
Helly was never cruel.
Do it, Seth!
If it was up to me, he'll probably be winning an Emmy for the season. You know, if I love Tremel Tillman, I just can't overlook how good John Turturro was. The way the story ends this season, I'm a little mixed on. It seems like John will be coming back, but there were rumors that he wasn't, so they kind of gave him an open ending. It was still good, but I was a little disappointed if that's how the season ended for him. Bert, played by Christopher Walken. He's not in love this season, but his performance is great. I'm glad we're seeing more of him. He might have a sinister side to him, which I hope gets explored more in a future season. Pretty good character, pretty good performance, not a lot to say. Miss Huang, great little addition to season. Her actress, Sarah Bach, did pretty good. She was kind of funny. I hope to see her again in future seasons, but I feel like it would make sense if we don't see any more of her. Most importantly, I'm glad she wasn't Gemma's clone. Devon, Mark's sister, is a good character. Obviously, she's stuck in an outie world, so she can't do a lot. I don't think she was an idiot for calling Cabell. Pretty good character. Rickon, the funniest character to show. He was only in 4 episodes this season. He needs to be in more the next season. Helly, another amazing character. Britt Lauer was a fantastic find. I can't believe she hasn't been in more productions. Her innie-outie dynamic has the most contrast in the whole show. She has to play both the hero and the villain, which I'm not sure if I've seen before, at least not to this extent. And she does an amazing job. Just the way she walks is awards worthy. The scene at the diner, there's just something so off-putting about her performance. The way she acts in that scene, training like she just happens to run into him. Great performance. Also, the first couple episodes, the subtle things she does to make us realize that something's off, like that campfire scene, which I frankly just didn't really like her in the episode. Makes sense why in hindsight. Great performance. I hope she wins awards for her performance. The main man, Mark S. or Mark Scout, played by Adam Scott. So great this season, every episode, but especially the finale. And the conversation between the two Marks, brilliant performance, great character. Didn't really hit me until the end of the season how different the two Marks actually were, because I was just kind of seeing him as the main character, but then we get main character, seeing the contrast. Great stuff there. He will be getting my vote for Emmys, especially for his performance in the last episode. You might have noticed that I missed a pretty big character, that being Cobell. And that's because I want to talk about Sweet Vitriol in its own separate section. The 8th episode of the season was easily the most divisive and controversial episode. This episode focusing on Cobell is, in my opinion, easily the weakest episode of the show. It's not a bad episode, just an okay episode. I'll still give it a 7 out of 10, but all the other episodes are at least an 8 out of 10. There was a bit of hype, at least from me, going into the episode. Last week's was so amazing. More on that later. This is directed by Ben Stiller. It'd be a Cobell-centric episode. It's only 37 minutes. People were saying it would be all killer, no filler. But it turns out it was only slightly killer and mostly filler. Also, side note, the plot on Apple TV Plus, discoveries are made. Maybe the worst little plot summary I've ever seen. What the hell was that? This is easily the most boring episode of the show. It didn't feel like there were any stakes and just felt like it was stopping the story, running its tracks. It tries to give us information about Cobell and her backstory, but instead of using flashbacks like the episode before, this, however, just has the character talking about it, and it wasn't interesting, or new characters I didn't care for. There were no stakes in this episode, which I already said. I was waiting for something to happen. The dialogue in the episode was very frustrating and just ridiculous. Why do you bring nothing about woe into my life? No, it is you who cursed this house with woe. What the fuck is that? No one talks like that. This episode is relying on one of the biggest twists, allegedly, so far of the show, being that Cobell created Severance. And it definitely is a twist, but it was a twist that had me feeling absolutely nothing. Some people say it's a huge moment, but I just didn't feel anything. And when it was revealed, I don't know why, they decided to make a whole episode out of this story when it could have just been taken up maybe 20 minutes of the episode and just being actual flashbacks to her as a child, so the big reveal that she made Severance could have been bigger, had more of an effect on us, because we can actually see what she went through and why she decided to make it. I have a bit of a theory on why they decided to make this episode. Patricia Arquette being a producer of the show and not being in the season a bunch, they wanted to probably make an episode solely based on her, hoping that they can submit this one to the Emmys, show how amazing her performance is. But I don't think she was even that great in the episode. Anyway, this last episode kind of killed the momentum of the season. The next episode was a banger in my opinion, but this had killed most of the momentum leading into the finale. Compared to the first season, whose momentum ramped up leading into the finale. With all this being said, it was still just a fine episode, but it should have been better. Before I get to the finale, I wanted to highlight some of the best episodes of the season. The second best episode, in my opinion, was, of course, Chikai Bardo. This was an amazing episode, simultaneously giving us the flashback between Mark and Gemma and their relationship, and slightly revealing what's happening with Gemma, while also giving us so many more questions. A heartbreaking episode, masterfully directed by Jessica Lee Gagnier. Probably pronounced that wrong, definitely did. This shows cinematographer in her directorial debut. She would be my vote for Best Director if I was an Emmy voter. She should at least be winning Best Cinematography for this episode. Being able to do both gave her such creative freedom in how she presented the episode, and that's why this episode's so unique and amazing. Deacon Lackman is incredible in this episode. Very dark, sad episode. One of the show's best so far. Obviously, I gotta give a quick shout out to Rose Hollow. Another great episode. Very different from the rest of the show, but it was fish out of water. It really gave time for John Turturro and even Tramel Tillman to give great performances. Great episode. And, of course, had the largest waterfall on Earth. But the best episode of the season, and of the whole show, in my opinion, is the season finale, Cold Harbor. This is easily one of my favorite episodes of television I've ever seen. Gotta be top 5 for me. Every aspect of the episode was incredible. From the start of the episode, which had Mark's Innie and Mark's Outie talking to each other for a lengthy amount of time. This was an amazing scene. It made me realize how different the two Marks are in subtle ways. It makes you think about the ethical dilemmas about what they're actually doing. And it's just great to see the show explore that. The reveal of what refining is, being dividing the 4 tempers from a person's mind so they can create new innies. It's such a great reveal because it makes sense, and it makes the scenes of them refining so much darker, knowing what they've been doing the whole time. This episode was also very intense. Most intense of the show so far, and one of the most intense episodes of television. From the moment it started to even through the credits, I was on the edge of my seat. It amazes me that even through this intensity, it still manages to be a hilarious episode. Like, obviously, the scene with Milchick running away after giving Dylan the file had me going crazy. I loved Milchick in this episode. The marching band coming in for the season's music dance experience was so unexpected. I don't think anyone predicted that was going to happen. And if you did, fuck off. And honestly, it might be my favorite part of the whole episode. The scenes between Helly and Mark as he's about to finish Cold Harbor is so good and so emotional. That weird talk show with the Kier wax statue is so funny to me, even though the situation is intense. And we also find out that the goats are literal sacrificial lambs. That scene made me a little sad, but I'm glad the goat survived. Mark holding Drummond at gunpoint only to end up accidentally killing him when he switches to Outie Mark is another hilarious moment. The reveal that Cold Harbor was to have Gemma take apart a baby crib, which was amazing because in Chikai Bardo, the box said Cold Harbor and people assumed it was just an Easter egg. Mark's rescue of Gemma is the most intense part of the episode. I was so relieved when she got out, but went instantly back to the edge of my seat as they were running away. I could not believe they were getting away with this so easily. And Gemma got out, I was so happy, and then Mark is still waiting, and Helly shows up behind him. And my heart breaks as I realize what's happening. The final scene is one of the best and most devastating endings to an episode I've ever seen. On one hand, I'm happy for Mark and Helly, but on the other hand, I'm heartbroken for Mark and Gemma. Incredible ending to an incredible episode. I have no idea what will happen next season. This is going to be a long, hopefully no more than 2-year wait. This is one of the best shows of all time. Everything from the writing, the directing, the acting, cinematography are all absolutely top notch. I love season 2. This season gets a 10 out of 10. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Comment your thoughts. Follow me on Letterboxd at #1Alex. See you next time.